Welcome fellow Vikings, it's Scary Terry back with a video on plains farm build ideas and production guide. In today's video I'm going to give you a look at my two plains farms, Tegridy Farms and Flaming Arrow Farms. Tegridy Farms is for the mass production of barley, which can be converted into flour and used for high-level foods. Now you don't really need to use my method to the scale I did to be effective. You could build a farm that's a quarter to half the size of this and still produce plenty of barley and flour, and basically won't have to worry about food for a while. Flour can be used with a cauldron to make bread, fish wraps, lox meat pie, and blood pudding, which are all very good sources of health and stamina. My second farm is Flaming Arrow Farms. This build is a lot less practical, and I spent way more time than I really needed to build it, but I'm happy with the way it turned out. I figured I'd make a build related to the Viking times, since flax is what they would most likely be using to make bowstring back then. Although flax is not used as bowstrings in Valheim, it can be spun into thread by crafting a spinning wheel. Once you craft some thread, you'll unlock recipes for padded iron armor, which is a tier up from silver wolf armor. And I believe padded armor is the strongest armor in the game at this point. Thread can also be used to craft black metal weapons and shields, which are also the highest tier weapons in the game. Alright, to start off you'll have to either do some exploring in the plains until you come across a goblin camp that may or may not have flax or barley in the garden patches around the camps. From my experience on a couple of mine and my buddy's servers, it's about a 50-50 chance to find either of them at the goblin camps though. You could also try finding a Valheim Discord, clan, or trade server and set up a trade for a little bit of flax or barley. It won't take much of either to get you started, because when you plant them, they will yield 2 times the amount whenever you harvest it. Once you've got your flax or barley, you'll want to find a nice piece of land in the plains. And yes, unfortunately, you must grow flax and barley in the plains biome, or else it won't work. Your spot could be anything you'd like. It could be a nice hill with a view, or it could be a nice, safe, small island or coastline like I did with Tegridy Farms. When you found your spot, you want to clear out any goblins or death mosquitoes so they don't interrupt you while you're working. Which is also why you should take your pickaxe and dig a nice big trench surrounding the whole garden. It's a good way to keep those pesky goblins away from you and your goods. You may not need to dig your trench quite as wide as mine. I did 2 full tiles wide to make sure that spear goblins couldn't hit my crafting tables or windmills. If you want to use my style build, you'll need at least a workbench, a forge for the fancy torches, and an artisan table to make your windmills. I'd suggest you make 2 to 4 windmills depending on the scale of your farm compared to mine. At this size farm, I harvest about 400 to 500 barley at a time and plant about 200 to 250 back. And then I put the rest in the windmills and come back and harvest both of them at the same time, about an hour real time later. If you don't make it back in time, you don't have anything to worry about, I don't believe. I don't think your crops ever die just from sitting there too long. Granted, I've never really left them for days or anything, but I believe you're safe. Alright, once you've got your land ready to go, grab your cultivator and your flax or barley and get to work. I like to do easy straight rows on my barley mass production farm, because it's the easiest and fastest way to run straight across from each side. As long as you plant them about a body length apart, you should have no problem with having enough room for your plants to grow. Once you've planted, just wait a bit of in-game time and come back and check on your harvest in a bit. Planting it in straight rows makes it very easy to harvest as well, because you can basically do the reverse of the planting and run in straight lines across while you're harvesting it. This way will make it quicker to get the harvest up and back down. Once you get the hang of it, you'll get into your own rhythm or technique and get crazy productive with harvesting and planting them. I also like to fill the windmills right after harvesting, so the flour will be done when you come back for the next harvest. And then you just rinse and repeat the same process over and over again for mass production. Now, on smaller area farms, you can use the method of planting them in diagonal rows to increase the production. Be careful though, as you might place a few of them too close together like I did. In the end, it's no big deal. They will either eventually grow or you can get rid of them. The Flame and Arrow farms may not be the most practical, but it sure is pretty to me. Well, that's about the gist of my plains garden method. I hope you found the content helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have some pretty awesome Valheim content coming out very soon. I'm super excited about this project because it'll be an all new game mode to take all this Valheim hype to a whole nother level. This mode should be made to the public in the next week or so. We still have to do a little bit more testing before we launch the full scale version, but stay tuned and have a nice day.